Hi, I'm Pete Maldonado, the CEO of Chomps, and I'm excited to welcome you to Chompcast, a Chomps original podcast where we'll have 15 to 30-minute fireside chats focused on the CPG industry.
And I'm Rashid, the COO. Together, we'll be sharing valuable insights, advice, and real-world examples with aspiring and current business owners. We're happy to have you here along for the ride.
Welcome to Chompcast, episode 12, where we interviewed Bennett Byerley, co-founder of Verb Energy. All right, Bennett, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself and Verb?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. So I'm one of the three co-founders of Verb Energy. We're a next generation energy brand really focused on delivering healthy, convenient, accessible energy in a great way that fits with people's lifestyles. We make caffeinated energy bars, as well as some caffeinated protein bars and other energizing food and beverage products in the future. We originally launched in May of 2018, while the three of us were undergrads in college, and really focused on solving the personal energy problems that we saw all around us with healthy or unhealthy energizing products like your Red Bull, 5 Hour, and Monster. We wanted to build something better, and that's kind of the way that we got started out of our college dorm rooms.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the idea. I never really thought about you could eat your caffeine, and it's just it's great too. I tried a bunch of your products. We share a broker at Costco, which is how we met you, and glad we did because I'm a big fan of the products.
Yeah, thanks so much. We're a big fan of Chomps as well. We have a bunch of your products in our office, and it's a big hit. So that's great.
Thank you.
So was this your first job at a university?
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of didn't really go into college with the plan of starting a company, but I met Matt and Andre during my freshman year in college and was really impressed by their passion and enthusiasm. And Matt was the one who originally had the idea for creating Verb. Late at night, he was studying and was standing in line at a coffee shop, paying too much for a coffee and granola bar. Thought there has to be a better way to solve this problem. He pitched the idea to me and Andre of creating a caffeinated energy bar. And the three of us just started making products that we personally wanted out of our college dorm rooms, making a few for our friends. People seemed to really like it. So then we rented out a local bakery, making them at night, selling them on campus during the day. And then one thing led to the next. And we were kind of like, maybe we should actually start a business around this. We should raise some funding and turn it into something a little bit bigger. And that's what really got us over the hurdle to launch a business and grow fully direct to consumer for the first few years. And fast forward to now, and we've come quite a ways since that very beginning.
So Bennett, Verb, how did the name come about?
Originally, when we were brainstorming names, we were sitting around a table and we were Googling a bunch of synonyms of words and stuff like that, as I'm sure a lot of early stage companies do too. And someone said the name Verve, VERVE, which is full of energy and enthusiasm. But then someone else misheard them and said, oh, verb, an action, part of speech. I really like that. And so we can actually say that no one of the three of us actually had the idea for Verb, or at least we don't remember who had the idea for it, but we misheard it and then wanted to lean into creating energy for whatever Verb customers had. So whether it was working out or studying or working long hours or parenting, Verb could provide the energy for whatever that verb might be.
That's cool. I like that.
How did the name for Chomps come about?
That was probably my doing, is just trying to think of a good name we were making these meat sticks that were, they were in a multi-pack. So we had 8 sticks and it was about 8 ounces of sticks, and they had to be refrigerated. And I wish we still had a picture of that original logo that I did, Rashid. It was like Microsoft Word art is what I used to do it. It was the absolute worst, but it was, I just thought of a name that made sense. Kind of was like that, you just imagine chomping down on a stick. And I looked it up on USPTO, looked like I could get the trademark for it. I found a couple versions of URLs to buy. Chomps.com was taken at the time, which we have it now, but we had to save up some money to buy that one. But we started out with Go Chomps originally, and then
and everyone thought for the longest time that our name was Go Chomps.
Yeah, it was so frustrating.
Nice.
It was a happy day when we finally got the domain.
That's great.
with 3 founders, that's a lot of folks at the top. What's like the roles and responsibilities and divide and conquer look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing that I'm most grateful for all of Verb's experience, I'm sure that you all feel similarly, but is the relationship that I have with Matt and Andre. Like, we originally got started really as coworkers, not even friends first, and then our friendship developed after we started working together. And since then, we've become extremely close. And the foundation of that friendship is really a respect for each other's unique strengths and weaknesses that makes them a great team member and a great team player. And that really allowed us to build our own roles where we could lean into each other's strengths. So I personally I'm the COO, and I oversee our team building and people side of things and organization, as well as our supply chain and operations side of things. And then Matt, who's the CEO, oversees all of our marketing and finance pieces, as well as now sales as we expand to retail. And Andre is the technical co-founder. He's our CTO, who oversees all of our text commerce platform and e-commerce platform more broadly, that allows for us to text with customers and grow so significantly on the direct-to-consumer side of things.
Very cool.
So it sounds like you started with D2C, just like Chomps did 10 years ago now for us. But let's talk a little bit about that. So like, if you were to do it all over again, would you do it the exact same way? And what have you learned? And then I want to get more into about making this transition into getting into retail. I want to talk more about that as well. But let's start back with if you were to do it all over again, would you do it the same way?
As with every first-time founder, I'm sure that I would not do it the exact same way if I had to start all over again. But really, the decision to start direct-to-consumer was grounded in us wanting to build a relationship with our first customers and get to learn from them in such an in-depth way. And that part has been so valuable for us as we've continued to grow. So from day one, we texted with all of our customers. We were able to send surveys and learn from them what they liked about Verb, the ways that they were using it. And that really helped us inform our marketing and the way that we improved the products. And that experience was so valuable to us at an early point. I would say there are a lot of challenges with starting direct to consumers. I'm sure you all are very aware, but customer acquisition costs being quite expensive, a lot of focus on digital marketing and kind of the challenges associated with growing to significant scale in direct to consumer are very big. And I think if I could have done it over again, I would have probably moved to retail a bit sooner than we did, but we are really fortunate to be in the position that we are, where we'll be able to show up in national retailers over the course of the next year or so.
It is interesting because I don't know if you could have moved into retail if you think about COVID and the shutdown at the same time. So you guys actually did plan it the right way, but it takes time. Like, you don't flip a switch, so you could have during that lull maybe accelerated it. But I mean, it seems like you made the right thing. I know personally from a Chomp's perspective, a lot of CPG brands were pivoting hard and trying to go e-commerce. So at least you guys had that solid base, and I'm sure you saw a good lift as most of the other folks did too. So it's interesting. You kind of fall into the right decisions.
Yeah.
Some things are out of your control. On the topic of the D2C, like, how are you guys pivoting? Like right now, obviously with attribution and privacy and the way you can, like, are you guys continuing to find your way? You're leaning on agencies to kind of stay top of mind. What's your guys' strategy then?
I think for us, one key thing that we've done is really lean into customer lifetime value and creating a really outstanding customer experience as much as we can. As it becomes harder to manage attribution, digital marketing becomes more expensive. It really places the emphasis on creating great relationships with the customers you've already acquired and ensuring that you're creating the most value you possibly can for those customers. So over the past year, a lot of our strategy has been around building out better and better subscription and overall product offerings for our existing customers. At the same time, we've been trying a number of different strategies for online new customer acquisition, some that have worked, some that have not worked, and we're constantly testing and iterating as you need to. But in the grand scheme of things, it really does speak to the need to no longer be a direct-to-consumer company and instead be a brand that shows up wherever your customers expect to find your product. And for many of our customers, that is in physical retail stores, and we need to move on that and make that a top priority for the next few months.
How popular and how effective has text? You mentioned text before.
Yeah.
And I know on your packaging, it says, you could text us to reorder, and it's real simple. It's kind of similar to like that, Dirty Lemon when they were doing like the text to reorder. Tell me about that. And is that something you guys are still really leaning into now?
Definitely. We see text as so fundamental to our DNA. It really speaks to the relationship that we've been able to create with our customers. We manage thousands of conversations every single day with all of our customers, and we're able to learn from them. Here, they're sending us photos of how they're using the product, whatever is kind of their energy moment of the day, or what have you. It is a challenge to scale those customer interactions for sure, but our team has built out our own text commerce platform and internal CRM that really enables us to manage all of these conversations in a pretty cost-effective and efficient way. It's always getting worked on, and we're focusing on it more and more these days to improve its efficiency and make sure that we can manage it as it continues to scale. But it seems to have really resonated with customers. I think what's made it work for us is that we've focused a lot on building authentic human relationships over text, not just treating text as another promotional channel for you to blast out deals to all of your customers, but actually fostering real engagement, asking for two-way conversations with your customers, listening to feedback, addressing customer issues in a really seamless way.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but the product itself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the way not all caffeine is created equally. Like there's different sources of it, and the caffeine can have different impacts on the way people feel. Can you talk a little bit about the product itself and where you guys are sourcing your ingredients and what folks who haven't necessarily tried the product can expect?
Definitely. When we started out, we wanted to create really the best energizing effect that we possibly could have. And so first we started by combining healthy calories with a caffeine boost so that when you had your caffeine boost, it wasn't on an empty stomach, and it was something that would provide substantive nutrition in addition to just a caffeine boost. And so that first off gives us a great energy impact. But then also we've leaned into organic green tea, which is the source of caffeine that we use, which is clean, healthy, really outstanding source of energy more broadly. Matt, my co-founder, was a biochem major in college and was kind of the one who was most into the science of our products and like how we're actually creating energy that's different. And then now we've been able to bring on a chef from top tier restaurants in Boston who oversees all of our future product development to kind of combine the science-backed, evidence-backed energy effects with outstanding and delicious food products as well. So we hope that kind of combines into a really delicious, healthy, easy way to caffeinate and feel fully energized.
So you have a full-time employee, an in-house chef that's helping?
Yep. Chef Matt is his name. He's an outstanding chef who's able to craft really, really, really interesting flavors. There's a lot of testing and iterating that happens behind the scenes in his kitchen and in our office kitchen as well to bring kind of new prototypes to life. And then we all test them out in the office and try out all of the different products that he's working on. And we have a lot in the product innovation pipeline that we'll be releasing over the course of the next year or so, but it does go beyond kind of just this core offering of bars that we have right now.
How many recipes do you have now?
It varies a little bit because we have some limited edition flavors that we release on a seasonal basis, but I think we have more than 16 flavors. And over the course of Verb's entire time, we've probably released about 20 or so. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll release a flavor as a limited edition flavor, and then customers will tell us how they've liked it, and then we'll decide when and how we can bring it back in the future or if it becomes a permanent flavor. And that's kind of a really nice way where we've been able to infuse text and like the human interactions with our product development as are able to immediately learn from our customers which flavors they like and why, and they help us pick our future flavor development as well.
It's valuable. That's awesome. Can you tell me about like how does your background in your education, how does that play into sourcing, maybe packaging, some of the decisions you're making today?
So I have just started a master's program in sustainability management. So I don't want to speak like I have.
I didn't get the dates. Sorry.
I'm in the first semester of that. But well, first off, one thing was like we started Verb when we were in school, and we always wanted to see entrepreneurship as a learning experience. And for me, I really wanted to keep that going. And so Columbia has a wonderful program that allows you to take part-time master's classes at night for people who have full-time work. But for me, the reason I sought this out was particularly in an industry like food and beverage more broadly, our impact on the environment is so critical towards addressing climate change in the long run. And I really wanted to start out from a place of humility and learn first and foremost how we can have a really outstanding impact, and then hope to build that into what we do here at Verb and also in the long run in future career endeavors as well. For Verb, and I'm sure that you all have found this too, but so much of your sustainability impact relates to the ingredients that you use and the supply chain that you have. So for instance, for us, one of our most environmentally intensive ingredients is the almond butter that we use in the majority of our flavors. And we partner with a really great company that actually like uses very sustainable agricultural practices around almonds to ensure that water usage is very low and that the actual environmental impact of the farming of almonds is as positive as it possibly can be. And so for us, learning about where our impact is and identifying ways to partner with companies that help have an improved impact is really essential to what we want to continue to do in the long run. But it is still very much a work in progress and something that we're learning a lot about.
Yeah, that's important. That's pretty cool, though. I didn't even know that he could do that with Columbia, and maybe I'll look into those.
Yeah, check it out.
So you've been at it for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think with any business, there's typical milestones of growth that kind of really help get you to the next stage. So thinking back, like what have been some of the growth levers that have allowed you guys to get to where you are today?
That's a great question. We've had a lot of, as I'm sure you've had a lot of successes, a lot of failures along the way. I think some of our biggest milestones, I mean, thinking back, was the first time we produced fully at scale and we shipped them to an off-campus apartment to be able to package them up by hand and put them in the mailbox at a post office and really learn the essentials of creating a direct consumer and e-commerce business. So that was, I think, our first milestone where we were like, okay, this is actually going to be a real business. But then fast forward, we've been able to, raise a few rounds of funding at this point. And at each time, what's I've been most excited about is after you're able to raise funding and kind of take a step back to look at what the future of the company looks like. For us, one of the most important things was building out a team. And that's something that I'm really proud about over the past few years, is we've been able to work with some really, really outstanding and super talented people and build a great team that we're confident in for the long run. And I think looking forward, our next milestones relate to that future omni-channel growth, expansion into retail, starting to see the first sales numbers come in and your first velocity metrics come in at national retailers is obviously so key to the long run, and will hopefully serve as the motivation to get us to that next milestone.
Got it. What about challenges? It's so funny because when I'm asking the questions, like typically you can remember the challenges a lot easier than you can remember the wins because they stick with you. But any big challenges you can recall that's really been pivotal and got you kind of probably even stronger and allowed you also to get to where you are today?
There are so many, and I'm sure, like, again, with the challenges, it's like your mind just races through all the challenges that you've had, and also whatever, you're always biased towards the most recent challenge. I think for us, and like we talk about it with all sorts of like the larger economic climate right now too, but is this transition from being a startup that's really focused on how quickly can we grow and how much can we gain among new customers and such, to how can we build a really sustainable long business for the long run that is financially sound and able to provide like really outstanding results for the long run. And for us, like, there's the question of the order of operations, like how and when you should release new products. For us, we are really excited to always be innovative, but then along the way, sometimes you might miss out on some customer feedback that would have been really helpful before, and you might release something that is not absolutely perfect. We released, for instance, an energizing drink mix that we were really, really excited about and fit with the three of us co-founders personally as a way to get your energy through a healthy, delicious drink mix. And we released it and then got some mixed reviews from customers, some pretty positive reviews, but some other areas for how we could improve it. And I think for us, the challenges often provide like really, really great learning experiences where you're like, okay, listening to customers and validating and getting stronger customer feedback is so important for the future. So based on that experience, for instance, with the energizing drink mix, we developed a sub-brand of Verb called Verb Test Kitchen, where we release new products in a small batch among some of our customer base so that they can provide some feedback to us and let us know how to improve before we invest in a full-scale product launch more broadly. And so that's been really helpful to help us learn from mistakes that you might make and make all of your products better in the future.
So what was the motivation for the rebrand, and like why did you do that? What was wrong with the previous packaging or bar size? I think the bar size changed too. Is that
a little bit? Yeah. So we had gathered some customer feedback around our product set, and we really wanted to make a number of these changes prior to expansion into national retail. So for us, we had built our core products, and the packaging was fully around going direct to consumer and showing up really well online. And as we were approaching expansion into retail, we really wanted to make sure that we showed up really well on shelf. And so we switched from pouches to caddies and boxes, for instance, so that we could sit on shelf well and easily sell singles of the product itself, as opposed to just the pouches, which we had previously. And we wanted to streamline our packaging to make the value proposition a bit clearer to customers who might be seeing it for the first time in stores. And then on the actual product itself, we made a couple of minor tweaks that are really important for us to have that long run success in retail. So one, customers wanted a lower sugar version of our product as well. So we built out a number of products that had only 2 grams of sugar so that we could compete with any of the low sugar options that might be in the bar set more broadly. And then in addition, we made our bars slightly larger, like 20% larger, just to make them a little bit more substantive than they were previously, and make sure that it could be a really powerful long run energy boosting snack. And with that increase in size, we slightly increased the caffeine content of the bars as well, just to make sure that you got a full impact of the energy that you wanted.
I was going to ask about that. Did you dilute the caffeine a little bit?
We went up a little bit. So we went from 65 milligrams to 80 milligrams of caffeine. Personally, I have a pretty high caffeine tolerance, and I do notice this impact and think that it is a much, much better energizing effect that these products have.
Well, you think about it, it's better to give people a little more, and if they can't handle it, they just eat half now, half later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and kind of with the bar itself, it offers a standardized amount of caffeine, whereas if you order like a Starbucks venti, for instance, depending upon the roast, depending upon exactly where it's made and the way that it's brewed, it will have varying levels of caffeine, likely, or particularly among drip coffee more broadly. And so we really want a standardized amount of caffeine so that customers can kind of manage their own caffeine consumption exactly as they'd like to.
Like caffeine absorption, I'm assuming this is probably a question for Matt, but you might know it. But if you're eating the caffeine versus drinking it, does your body absorb it any differently?
I don't want to go out on a limb and speak beyond my level of expertise, but it is, I believe from the research that we've done, slower absorbing, and it works kind of on a more sustained way when it comes in with food. I mean, you can judge this for yourself. When you drink a large cup of coffee on an empty stomach, you'll feel extremely jittery. And part of that is due to it being on an empty stomach. And so for Verb bars more broadly, that impact is really important to us, to make sure that you don't feel jittery, to make sure that you have that long run sustainable positive energy boost.
Yeah, I made a mistake of I tried 3 different flavors in the same sitting, and I was like, I did not sleep that night.
It does carry a kick, so that's definitely true.
They taste so good though. You don't like think about it. You kind of just like, this is good. And next thing you know, you're like, running sprints.
That does speak to, we as a small limited edition version of a couple of our flavors, we released some decaf bars just for Black Friday for exactly that use case. So we have a hot fudge sundae flavor and our cinnamon roll flavor that we made a small batch of decaf versions of each to see what customers would think of it. But I know that my co-founders have been eating a lot of decaf Verb bars at night. So
so have you launched the decaf yet, or it's going
yes,
to be?
you can get those on our site. We just launched them this week, actually, so they're brand new.
How are they performing so far?
So far, so good. I think it's funny when you communicate with customers because we were the first ever like truly like caffeinated energy bar, and so now we're offering a decaf energy bar, which is, I think it speaks to the brand positioning that we've been able to build. But it is funny, customers, if they're like, I love this, like a decaf bar, but how is it energizing? And we're also like, well, every other energy bar on the market is really a decaf energy bar when you think about it. And so like we just wanted to make a special edition for some of our customers.
What about, as you think about 2023 and beyond, any innovation outside? So you talked about, like, obviously you have the in-house chef that's working on flavors. It sounds like you kind of were doing this drink mix. Any other innovation that you can share?
Yeah, we have a wide variety of things that we'll be releasing in Verb Test Kitchen, and beyond that, we're always really focused on creating the best ways for people to energize throughout their day-to-day. We see ourselves as an energy brand, not just a bar brand. So there are other ways through other beverage products and so on. While I can't get into all of those details because they really are still in early stages of development and we're ideating and passing around some prototypes and trying some things in the office, we are also working on some higher caffeinated bars, which I'm really excited about. So a double shot bar that we'll be releasing next year, and a few other improvements to, for instance, like our line of protein bars will expand dramatically next year as well.
Are you testing different types of proteins or just increasing the amount?
We're focused. So we have a separate line of caffeinated protein bars, which are larger, more substantive, and have 10 grams of protein from pea protein and plant-based vegan protein. And those products we've released in a few flavors up to now. But over the course of the next year, we'll be continuing to hone and improve those and develop new flavors on into next year as well. We probably won't move into the other kind of avenues of protein for the foreseeable future. But right now, we're really focused on delivering great protein and caffeinated bars as well.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's chat about you personally. Okay, so first question is, who is your brand crush? Like, just a brand that you see just out there, just is absolutely destroying it, and maybe one that you want to emulate.
I think, well, in like the food and beverage space, I really look up to a lot of these like platform food and beverage brands that have done so well and expanded into new products and, are universally well respected. So ones that come to mind are like Chobani, for instance. And Chobani is doing a lot of cutting edge product innovation that you see in stores, but it all fits so seamlessly underneath their brand. And while we like to look across categories and see what brands are doing that really inspire us. And so that's one. Within the bar space, we looked up to what Kind has done as well in that kind of product innovation side of things. They started with just a core set of bars and have expanded into a number of different product categories as well. So I'd say like those two stand out. And we're always impressed with the up and comers who are kind of in, I guess, our generation of brands, and look up to, your Magic Spoons and Cometier and other brands like that are really fun and have great people involved in what they're building.
And what would you be doing if you were not growing Verb right now?
Great question. I have no idea because we made the decision to join Verb so early in college. I originally went to college. I was an ethics, politics, and economics major and was thinking about going to law school. Entrepreneurship honestly did not cross my mind until working with Matt and Andre. And so I don't really know. I'm really excited to just keep doing Verb and keep growing with this company. And I'm learning so much right now, and that keeps me really excited and engaged.
This seems like a lot more fun than law.
Yeah, definitely. A lot more creative. When we do have calls with lawyers and such, they're always jealous of our day to day. So I don't miss that decision at all.
Rashid almost made that mistake as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I worked for a law firm right out of school for 2 years, and I was like,
oh, cool.
No, not. I felt it lacked, like, I always liked numbers and analytics and quant stuff. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't regret it, but I do still respect the way that lawyers think and approach problems.
Absolutely.
Right? So I like that because they have a unique way of looking at the world, and it's a pretty valuable skill set in certain settings. So I always toy around at some point. Does it make sense to get a JD just to get that skill set? But I don't think I want to go through the hassle of all that.
Yeah. No, it seems intellectually incredibly stimulating, but I don't know if the work would be what I would like to do. So agreed in that.
Awesome. Well, appreciate the time today. Before
Absolutely.
we drop, can you let the listeners know, you mentioned your D2C focus and some retail, where can we find the product?
So I'd check us out on verbenergy.com. That's the best shot to get a variety of flavors and try out all of our products. And in the future, over the course of the next year, you'll find us in a few national retailers, but we're still working on that part. So check us out online. That's the best place to check it out.
Awesome. Thanks, Bennett. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Great.